All right, guys. So yesterday we went ahead and we read FDR's speech that he gave to the American public after the bombing on Pearl Harbor. Today, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to look at the other side because in an argument, there's always two sides. And with that, we're going to look at Emperor Hirohito's speech. He is the emperor of the Japanese Empire. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and read about why he is validating and supporting the idea of going to war and why they decided to bomb the United States. Now, as we read, we're going to see a shift. In FDR's speech, we went ahead and we saw a lot of negative connotation being used against the Japanese Empire. But here in Emperor Hirohito's speech, we go ahead and see a lot more positive connotation. Okay. It does have the mix of the negative, which is good for their side because they're trying again to rally their people. They're trying to gain support for why they're doing this. Okay. So in the first section, we know that they have declared war on the United States and the British Empire. And with that, they're going ahead and their emperor's speaking how they're going to go ahead and do everything that they can to make sure that they succeed. We have our public servants, various departments will perform faithfully and diligently their appointed tasks. They're going to do this in a great and easy way, something that they're going to see through. An entire nation coming through with that united idea, their united strength. Again, those united ideas, you have more strength in numbers. Nothing will miscarry in the attainment of our royal aims. So it's not just a general thing that happens, but it's something that's royal, something that's higher in stature. From that, we know that right now, a central idea from this is that Japan is peaceful in trade and life. And with that, they're going to try and protect that. Okay. They want to make sure that they are seeing this through. We have some language, eternal, loyal, and brave subjects, utmost, prosecuting faithfully, diligently, all what you guys have highlighted up here. And we do have one part of red, okay, so that negative connotation. We hereby declare war upon the United States and the British Empire right there. If you're declaring something, it's not necessarily a good thing, okay, especially when it's declaring war. Moving down to paragraphs 17, 18, and 19, because it continues on from what we looked at yesterday, we see an idea, a very essential idea, our empire's foreign policy. Okay, that's why he's talking about this. And he says we need to make sure that we ensure solidity. So with that, you want to make sure that everything is the same. It's sound. It's not going to be changing. And they're just trying to contribute to world peace. Okay. We want to cultivate friendships, grow friendships, and enjoy prosperity with all nations. Okay, that's their foreign policy, but they weren't able to do this. And he goes on to say, even though this is what we want to do, it was not able to be done because it was unavoidable. Okay, and our empire has been brought to cross swords with America and Britain. So it's something that they couldn't avoid. They had to do this. And it tells us that they had to do it because of China. And during this time, America and the British Empire failed to comprehend the true intentions of our empire in China. And it was recklessly causing trouble, disturbing the peace, and it compelled our empire to take up arms. We had to do this, okay? If it's compelling of something, it's forcing them to do this. So the central idea here is that America and the British Empire are interfering with the dealings in China. And in addition to that, other countries are having to build up their armies. Okay. And that's something that they didn't want to do. It's disturbing the peace of East Asia. Okay. Paragraphs 20, 21, and 22, we have a lot more red connotation than green. Now remember, Hirohito, why is he speaking this way? What's his bias on this? What does he have to gain from saying this to his Japanesian people? Okay. We have inordinate ambitions to dominate. Okay. The American and the British protection still continues its opposition, not wanting to be cordial, not wanting to be agreeing, but instead it's opposing this. They have aggravated disturbances. They induce other countries to follow suit. With that, increased military preparations on all sides of the empire challenge them. Okay, what we saw up here, we can also go ahead and make sure that it's down here. Other countries are building up their armies, okay, because the United States is butting in. And even though with this, the United States has obstructed, okay, they've purposefully gone through, they've stopped being able to have that peaceful trade on two ways. And it says peaceful commerce, peaceful, okay? So here, Hirioto's really talking up on how the United States has done so many wrong things to them, and the only thing that they could have done was retaliate. And again, Hirioto restates that patiently we've waited and we've long endured in hope that our government might retrieve the situation in peace. So it wasn't something that was just quickly thought about, but instead they took time. They thought about it, they weighed their odds, and this is what they came to at the end of the day. We know that central ideas here is that there's still interference with China, okay? It interrupts the peaceful trade that Japan has had, and other countries are having to build up their armies because of the United States and the Japanese Empire, which is why they decided to go ahead and bomb the United States and those other islands of British territory. We know from paragraphs 23 through 26, which is going to be our last, okay? Hirioto's again going to speak to the public and he's going to address his audience in a meaningful way. Adversaries, not the least, spirits of conciliation, unduly delay, intensified pressure, submission. All of these things are not a good thing. If something's intensifying, these relationships are intensifying. The hostile relationships are intensifying. There's pressure. Okay? You don't want to be put underneath pressure, and neither do these countries. And submission, where you eventually you cave. It says this turn of affairs, and it nullifies our empire's efforts. If you nullify something, you're getting rid of it. It's no longer suitable. It no longer matters. The sake of stabilization, if something's stable, it's well off. It's not worried about sinking. Okay. And it endangers the very existence of our nation. Now remember, this is being said to the Japanese people. They don't want to see their country taken over by another force. So these things that are happening because of the British Empire and because of America are endangering that solidity that they have. They're endangering their prosperity, and they don't want this. And then the last paragraphs, where here, this is called a call to arms or a call to action. And Hirioto tells them what they're going to need to do and how they're going to be able to do this. So the situation, okay, we appeal to arms, and we're going to crush every obstacle in its path, saying that we're strong enough to go through and do this, and we can go ahead and overcome any of this. They are a very religious country, and with that, they call upon their hallowed spirits of imperial ancestors to guard us. Hallowed spirits is just respected. Okay, we rely on the loyalty and courage of our subjects. So, of the people, we know that you're loyal. We know that you're courageous. They're hyping them up here. And then evil will be speedily eradicated. Now, remember, the war took about 5 years after the United States entered, and Japan has already been in this. So, it's not very speedily that this is happening. But again, you have to have the backing of your people. Okay, so he's going to tell them, we're going to get in, we're going to get out. Everything that we're worried about is going to be gone. And then because everything's gone, we're going to have enduring peace. Okay. Will be immutably established in East Asia, preserving our glory and our empire. Okay. If it's preserving it, it's keeping it. It's making sure that it's stable. So we see some central ideas here. We have, again, the United States is interfering with the peaceful trade. And because they're doing that, we had to do this. And eventually they're going to win the war. Okay. Once you have this, you're going to go ahead and fill out your not your graphic organizer, your Venn diagram first. Then from your Venn diagram, you're going to take that information and plug it in to your graphic organizer, which looks like this. Okay. And then you'll go ahead, you'll watch another video looking over the key of the Venn diagram.